Good morning and welcome to another Elevated Marketing Chat where we discuss data-driven digital marketing that helps your business grow. My name is Jennifer Denny. I am the owner of Elevated Marketing Solutions. We are based here in Indianapolis. However, we handle clients all over the world. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, all over the places. And I say data-driven digital marketing, and I think sometimes people think that we just focus on the analysis of the data, but we actually go the actual marketing. But, we make sure that every decision that we make is based on the data because we can all have a lot of opinions, but opinions lie and numbers don't. So let's get started with today's topic. And before we do any topic, we always have a quote. So let me get that up on the screen. Your limitation is only your imagination. I say this, and I know it's common and it's said a million different ways, but you're the only one that can really hold yourself back. It's what you tell yourself, in between the two ears that you have on whether or not you're capable. There will always be people out there that will tell you that you can't do something, and that's because you might be pushing beyond what they are capable of. And so don't let others or situations or whatever have you stop you from what you're capable of. Just keep dreaming big and put one step in front of the other. All right, so let's get started with today. I've been thinking about this topic for quite a while. It's been brought up in many different situations, but what does a good landing page look like? So let's talk about this. I think there is, what is a landing page? Why do we build them? What does it get used for? And what is inside a good landing page? So let's kind of break those down. So first of all, what is a landing page? Well, a lot of times it's this standalone web page that gets built specifically for a specific advertising or marketing campaign where a visitor has come from email, social ads, maybe Google ads, a particular place on the internet, and they land on a landing page. Could your homepage be a landing page? Yes, absolutely your homepage could, because it could be from a search result and that's where they come in. So my first lesson is almost every page of your website should be built like a landing page so that when they come in, that they're getting all the information they potentially need and then on to the next step. Usually landing pages are built with a single focus in mind, but if you think about it, isn't your website too? Aren't you trying to get them to do a particular desired action? And so I encourage you to kind of think about your website as a landing page as well. But, why do we build them? We build them in an attempt to try to get you everything that you want all on one particular page. Is that realistic? Is that really how today's consumer buys, that they just need to see one page and they will just, instantly buy from that? And the answer is no. Research has kind of shown that people need to see up to 7 different marketing messages, sometimes 8 I've heard, sometimes 5, but they need to see multiple messages before they make that decision. In fact, 95% of people do not make that decision on the very first time that they are introduced to your brand or service. So you've got a 5% shot that you're going to be able to build this landing page that's just going to give them everything they need, and they're going to make that decision instantly. So let's get our expectations straight. Let's stop trying to trap people into this one page and this is all that you need. Does that work? Yeah, it does in some scenarios where maybe that is all they need. Like perhaps I'm just going to give a scenario. You're in Google Ads and you're driving specific traffic where somebody is looking for the cost of plumbing service. Well, in that scenario, a isolated page might be a good idea because they are at the very end of the funnel and they are ready to buy. They just want to know how much it costs. So, in general though, most of our people are at different parts of the funnel, and so we need to treat it a little bit differently. So we've got to understand where they are at in the marketing funnel to understand what to put on a landing page. Before I kind of go into what to put on it, we want to make sure we thoroughly kind of cover like what does it get used for. I've mentioned it already, but a lot of times ads, Facebook, Google, there's a lot of other ad platforms out there as well. Email, I've mentioned too that your homepage is potentially a landing page as well. They're created though so that your messaging on that ad or email or wherever they're coming from matches the landing page. They need to be the same. If there was a hook that got them to stop scrolling, are you finishing the hook on the landing page? Let's talk about some specific instances. So Google, Bing, search ads, they get matched with the keywords that you are bidding on. And when you do that, you increase what's called your quality score. And your quality score tells you how much you're going to pay per bid. Imagine that. If you actually match what people are searching for to your landing page, Google doesn't charge you as much. That makes sense. So, that's one place that it gets used for. Social ads. So, a lot of times in those scenarios, you're targeting certain audiences. Maybe they're cold, they've never heard of you. Maybe they're warm, they've interacted with you before. And so as you're building that funnel of messaging, you're going to have different things on your landing page. Then there's email. This to me is obviously a warm audience because you've garnered their email one way or another. And so the type of information and what's on your landing page is going to be completely different. Could a blog post be a landing page in this scenario? Yeah, it absolutely could be, because maybe that's why you're sending out your newsletter, is to let people know of what's going on in your organization. And part of that is the most recent blog post that you have put out. So yes, that can make sense. So let's get to the meat of it. What is on a good landing page? Well, you have to think in terms of what is going to make them buy your product and service. What is in it for them? Not thinking of yourself, but think of your consumer. But before you go there, what is the goal of this particular page? So when you're designing your page, you have to think about what is the goal. Who is my audience? How did they get there? What was the message of the entry point? If you don't know who you're talking with, then you can't change your imagery, your design, your language that you're using on that landing page to match that. And like we said, it's got to match. Once you understand that there are key elements to making a good landing page, then you can start building out what needs to be in there. So first of all, engaging copy. And when I say the word copy, I mean written format as well as images, video. What are the elements that are going inside of that particular landing page? It's got to be a good headline. It's got to be persuasive in your sub headlines. You've really got to get to the heart of, why they have gotten there. You've got to make it scannable. No, everybody's not going to hang on every word that you write. Maybe. I've definitely seen some really good ad copy where I was hanging on every single word, but most people don't. You've got to make it scannable though by breaking it up with visuals, videos, different size text. I don't know if you know this, but our brains process images 60,000 times faster than text. So when there is an image there, you really got to think past that. I just, got this stock image. Like, what is it about that image that's going to evoke a certain, response, some sort of emotional response to it? And does that match what you're trying to go after? Most people scan though. There are lots of softwares out there. There's Hotjar, there's Crazy Egg, and most of the data shows that people go in a Z pattern. I actually learned this in art school. So when you're designing, your artwork, you need to think about that Z pattern. Now, there's lots of other different ways that people scan, pattern wise, but that is the most common. So when you're placing your elements within your landing page, you have to think about those different items. When you're writing this copy, though, depending on who's going to this, do they fully understand what my product or service is? That could be the stopping point. If they're not quite sure what this product or service is, then they're not going to go any further. And so you have to fully explain that. You have to think in the way that people buy. What is it? How does it help me? And what are my options? So, what's in it for me? How will this help me? What are the benefits? You've got to come up with multiple reasons why this is a great product to help them solve a particular problem. We all have problems, right? How are you helping them solve that problem? You've got to come up with reasons why they should pick you. So after they understand what the product is, after they see what the benefits are, why are you a good option? Because most of the time you're not the only option out there. And that really comes down to trust factors. One of the biggest ways that you can do that is nobody wants to be a guinea pig. So what are your reviews? What are other people saying about your product or service? A recent HubSpot research showed that 71% of people will actually make a buying decision based off a recommendation online. And it can't just be these written reviews. It's got to be video reviews. It's got to be that social proof. Out there on all of your social networks, what are people saying? Are they commenting, liking, sharing? Are they engaged? And if they're not, you need to dig down and find out why they are not giving that social proof. There's something that's stopping them. Are there recognizable brands that use your product or service that you could have on this landing page? Is the Times, or I don't know, have you had an article in somewhere particular? Again, people don't want to be the guinea pig, so when they can see that recognizable brands have used your product or service, then they're more likely to give it a shot. All right, let's talk about guarantees. If I am guaranteed and there's little to no risk involved with me trying your product or service, I'm probably more likely to do it. Again, nobody wants to be the guinea pig. And so I say that, but I like to be the guinea pig. I like to be the one that goes first and kind of forges out and figures it out. But most of the population, though, per se, or most people don't want to be that guinea pig. So don't gear your product or service landing page towards me. um, Make sure your landing page has a clear call to action. It might seem obvious to you, but what do you want them to do? Sometimes it might be filling out a quiz, but other times it might be that you want them to actually get to that very last item. You have, maybe that's the form fill, maybe that's the phone call. Don't have expectations though that you're going to be able to get them there right away. You're going to have to sell them along. You're going to have to go over their objections. You're going to have to overcome them. And you're going to have to create some sort of fear of missing out or FOMO. Why do I need to do this right now? If I don't do it right now, and sometimes that works, guys, and sometimes that doesn't. Sometimes putting that pressure, people read right through that and they're like, okay, this is not a good scenario. So you have to look at your product and service. Keep those forms short. Don't be afraid to try different calls of action. There's lots of things out there right now. Having a chat so that people can interact and ask questions. Sometimes those are good, sometimes they're not. Just because they're popular does not mean that is what you should be using. Did I hear somebody say the word test? Just because the research out there is currently showing you that most of the population wants to have, a landing page have XYZ, doesn't mean that you shouldn't go against the grain and test something different. Now you have to have enough traffic coming into that landing page and enough time for it to be statistically significant, but that is something you should definitely look at as well. So to kind of summarize this section, what is it? Who's it for? What problems does it solve? And when should they get it? So let me talk about a couple of tips with your landing pages. Let's talk about how many landing pages you should have. Before we go any further, how many resources do you have? You need to know how much time and energy and resources that you have. You don't want to spend a ton of time on, let's say, a page when you're really spread out thin as a marketing agency or as I should say marketing agency, but probably internal team if you're too spread out. Let's say you have a really small budget because we talked about a lot of times landing pages are for Google ads and for social ads. Well, if you don't have a really large budget, perhaps you should be sending to your homepage. I said your homepage can be a landing page too. If you're not able to hook somebody in with your homepage, then you've got a problem right there. And so perhaps you should be testing that as well. Second, how many parts of the funnel do you have? A lot of times there's many different ways. So you've got to build many different landing pages. But you really have to think about, is that juice really worth the squeeze? Let's talk about the SEO in landing pages. A lot of times landing pages help bring out that SEO element that you are looking back for. If you think back to Google Ads and when you're matching the keyword to the landing page, you're going to hit two birds with one stone. And so SEO definitely plays into your landing page as well. All right, let's talk about these landing page builders versus building them on your website. So I'm talking about Unbounce, Instapage, ClickFunnels. Your website should be laid out that no matter what point that I come into the website, I'm able to logically get to the next part of the funnel of buying for that particular person. You should easily be able to lead through so that they can get to the next page. So why are we building these landing pages on different platforms other than what our website is built on? I don't know. Originally, it kind of came about because landing pages on our website was difficult because we had to have a developer involved and there was a lot to it. And now with all these landing page builders that are built into the softwares, or I shouldn't say softwares, but the content management systems such as WordPress, we don't need these outside landing pages. We can build a landing page right on our website. Another bad thing is a lot of times these outside places or softwares for landing pages build a totally different domain. And now we're not building authority on our own website. So we should try to use our own website. You're going to have to put a different pixel to collect data on a different landing page. And now you're going to fragment your data and it's all over the place and in multiple places. Sometimes the look and feel is going to be different because the landing page builder that you have purchased outside of your website has different elements of design that you're able to use. And so now your branding is not cohesive. So a lot to think about, but I really don't think that you should use outside landing page builders when it comes to building landing pages. You can use your own website. So that is it for today. We've talked about what a landing page is, why we build them, when does it get used, and what is good inside of a landing page. So if you enjoyed today, you can like, follow, and subscribe at elevatedmarketing.solutions because we bring solutions to your digital marketing problems. My name is Jennifer Denny. I am the owner of Elevated Marketing Solutions. And next time we are going to be talking about what are connected TV ads. We have, definitely done some in the past, and we're getting into this even more. The old days of TV and placing ads through the networks is just not there anymore. And most of us are on connected TVs, and if you're not already, then you're going to be. And so we need to talk about what are these ads and where can I place them at? And so that is September 9th, which is crazy for me to say. I can't believe September already. I think I put out on a post that we need to put away the pumpkin spice. We still have summer all the way through halfway of September. I'm still drinking on my margarita. And maybe by the next one, I'll still be drinking my margaritas. So I will see you September 9th, and everybody take care.